Seatbelts are fastened. Lou Williams for the win. Bingo!
Oh my goodness.
By Landry, Ariza dropped down. Kobe! Oh! Up high! Down hard! Kobe Bryant!
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
Kawhi aggressive to the rack.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to a preseason preview here on Dime Dropper. Gonna make it short and sweet. Unfortunately, I got work to get to, but we're gonna be predicting every single team's placement in the regular season standings for the 2025-26 season. Welcome to opening day. It's an exciting day for a lot of us. For me, I don't get as excited as I used to when I was a kid. Sorry to break it to everyone. I get more excited about my own personal content, the actual basketball being played. Everybody knows I'm not the biggest fan of the way the game is played anymore, but the storylines of the season that affect NBA history are always exciting. And of course, you know, being able to provide content and document everything thoroughly is something that I take a lot of pride in. So let's start with the Eastern Conference first, because it's just such a joke. No offense to the Eastern Conference teams. We got a lot of major injuries this year. By the way, if you are not a member of the channel, I'm still releasing playoff breakdowns, because some of you are probably wondering, Dime, we didn't even ever hear your thoughts on the playoffs last year. They're coming out. I'm still going to release them throughout the season. I'll hopefully be done by by the end of the calendar year, talking about every single playoff game. So I've been releasing those for members only. And for members only, you can also skip the line at vlogs when you're like trying to get interviewed, and you'll be entitled to some perks later down the line. When we hit 25 members, we're going to do a giveaway. When we hit 50 members, we're going to do a giveaway. And of course, members shout outs consistently. And if you just want to support your boys, so check out the membership tab. There'll also be a members only live every week where I'll talk about other teams across the league and be inviting people on stage. So let's talk about the Eastern Conference, right? Last year, we'll start from the bottom, honestly. 2024-25. Last year, the worst team was the Washington Wizards. This year, I'm honestly going to go with the Brooklyn Nets as my number 15. The Brooklyn Nets. I'm not high on them one bit. I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. They have our boy Terrence Mann, which, you know, I'm a fan of his, but I'm going to go with the Brooklyn Nets at number 15. Their roster is led by Cam Thomas. They have a couple of young dudes, but I don't see much there. Looking at their depth chart right now, Igor Demin, Cam Thomas, Terrence Mann, Michael Porter Jr., Nick Claxton. I mean, I think their best players are either Cam Thomas or MPJ. I am going to go with the Brooklyn Nets at number 15. So at number 15, we got the Brooklyn Nets. At number 14, I'm going to go with the Washington Wizards. I just think that they're in a rebuild situation. You know, they finally pivoted away from Bradley Beal a couple years ago, but they're still just not very good. Last year, they were the worst team in the league with second worst team in the league behind the Utah Jazz, 18-64. We're looking at Bub Carrington in his second season in the league, Alex Sarr in his second season in the league. They do have Chris Middleton and CJ McCollum and Bilal Coulibaly. But Bilal Coulibaly is not going to play opening night. Chris Middleton and CJ McCollum could make things interesting. They also have some other young players like Trey Johnson, who was the 6th pick in the draft, Kai Sean George, Corey Kispert. But I'm going to go with 14. I'm also just not sure about Chris Middleton's health. The guy has missed a lot of games in the past. This past season, he only played 37. So I'm going to go with the Washington Wizards at my number 14. At number 13, I am going to go with the Charlotte Hornets. There's not much to say about the Charlotte Hornets. They're perennially, just a perennially injured team all the time. They have LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, but I don't know. I don't trust their health one bit, especially LaMelo's. When he's playing, though, he is electric. but there's just not enough there for me to be confident in them to do anything serious. I'm going to go with them at 13th. LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Con Knuppel, who was the 4th pick in the draft, and then, of course, Miles Bridges, and Ryan Kalkbrenner, but I don't know. They're just a little young for me. I'm going to go with the Charlotte Hornets at 13. Now, this is where it starts to get interesting because we have teams along the same level. The Philadelphia 76ers finished 13th last year, but I'm not super confident that they're going to be, down in the dumps this year. This might be a hot take. Maybe I'm low on them because they have a guy who has a chance to be a star in this league, but I'm going to go with my 12 seed as the Chicago Bulls. Matas Buzelis is a very, compelling prospect. He's really talented. I think we're going to see a lot from him this year. You got Kobe White in there, Nikola Vucevic, but I just don't see much with the Bulls. Josh Giddey in the way he played last year was very impressive. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this will age poorly, but I'm going to go with the Chicago Bulls at number 12. I just don't feel like there's much there. They're looking at a starting lineup of Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Matas, Isaac Okoro, and Vucevic, as it says on ESPN, but I don't know if they're going to start Isaac Okoro. Patrick Williams, I'm just not high on him. Ayo Dosunmu, he was injured a lot last year. How many games? He only played 46 games. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bulls as my number 12. And then missing out on the play-in at the number 11 spot. This was a very difficult decision. Very difficult decision. But I'm going to go with I'm kind of making this up as I go, to be honest with you. Oh, goodness. I don't want to say Toronto. I don't want to say them because I feel like they're pretty good this year. But you know what? I'm going to go with Toronto only because I'm skeptical of Brandon Ingram's health. They have Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl as their starting lineup. That's pretty good. But their bench, I'm not super high on. Guys like Jamal Shed, Grady Dick, I do like. He's coming off a career year. But I'm not huge on their depth. And if Brandon Ingram or Scotty Barnes goes down, or even Emmanuel Quickley goes down, I'm not super high on them. So I'm going to go with, so here's what I got so far. 15th seed, I got the Brooklyn Nets. At the 14th seed, I got the Wizards. 13, Charlotte Hornets. 12, Chicago Bulls. And number 11, I'm going to go with the Raptors, although I'm rooting for the Raptors to make it to the play-in. Like, I would really like for them to, because I like Brandon Ingram. I think that's a team I'm actually going to be watching a lot this year. So on the members-only lives, I'll definitely be talking about the Toronto Raptors a decent amount. So then we look at the play-in spots. At number 10 for the second straight year, I'm going to go with the Miami Heat. They got our boy Norman Powell, but it's their first full season without Jimmy Butler. Either Norman Powell or, Tyler Hero or Bam are their best player. They're a gritty team. You're going to have a full season of Davion Mitchell, who was a revelation for them last year. But I'm going to go with the Miami Heat. I just don't think that they're that good. They were 37-45 last year and missed Jimmy Butler for a good chunk of the season, but he still played a good amount, although he wasn't super locked in. They're looking at a starting lineup of Davion Mitchell, Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo, and Kel'el Ware. Although Kel'el Ware could be somebody that takes a big leap this year. So I wouldn't sleep on the Heat. Like, I could be completely wrong on this take, completely wrong. But I'm going to go with the Miami Heat at number 10. Sorry, Heat fans. As for my number 9, this is a tough one, but I am going to go with the Philadelphia. Actually, you know what? Oh my God, this is tough. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers. I just think that it's too, if you get a healthy Embiid, then this changes the ball game completely, right? Then 9th is going to be a joke of a prediction. However, Paul George is still not reporting, like, he's not healthy. So they've gutted their roster for this guy. They have some depth, but they lost Gershon Yabusele. They were 24-58 last year. Depth chart is looking like Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, who was the 3rd pick in the draft, and me excited to see what he could do. They still have Kelly Oubre, Joel Embiid, but I don't like their bench. Jared McCain is still out for a bit. he says he's doing conditioning work and feels like he's in game shape. Is he going to play on opening night? I'm not completely sure with Jared McCain, but because he tore his UCL and his thumb during a workout. So I don't know. I am going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers being ninth. I'm not a huge fan of their depth, and Paul George is still out. So I'm going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers at 9. At number 8, I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics. You know, they've had a lot of changes this offseason. You have Jason Tatum out. I'm operating under the assumption that he is not going to return this season. So Jaylen Brown's going to have a career year, I think. They're definitely going to need him to stay healthy. But, by the way, yeah, they're definitely going to need him to stay healthy. But I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics at number 8. They have Anthony Simons now. You're probably going to get another really solid season of Peyton Pritchard. But I don't know. It's shaky. Looking at their depth chart right now, the Celtics coming off a 61-win season. You still have Derek White. You got Anthony Simons, Jaylen Brown, but their starting center situation is really suspect. Neemias Queta, is he starting? So I think, honestly, going 8th with the Celtics is generous. I'm just putting a lot of faith in Jaylen Brown. I think if he gets healthy, they also don't have Drew Holiday or Kristaps Porzingis anymore. So you know what? I might have to switch that. I'm going to go with the Celtics at 9, actually. I'm going to switch that. I'm going to go with the Celtics at 9, and I'll go with the Philadelphia 76ers as number 8. Yeah, oh my God. You know what? No, I'm going to stick with my original. The Sixers is 9. Sixers is 9. Celtics at 8. I'm just going to stick with it. I'm just going to stick with my guns here. And then number 7. Number 7, I'm going to go with another team that's facing a major injury this year and just lost their starting center in Miles Turner. I am going to go with the defending Eastern Conference champion, Indiana Pacers. I'm going to go with them as number 7. Of course, no Tyrese Halliburton. So it's going to be a tougher year for them, for sure. But they're still going to be exciting. I think TJ McConnell is going to step up in a big way. And you still have Pascal Siakam. I think he could have a career year. Benedict Mathurin and Andrew Nembhard are still there, and they're going to show you a lot of what they've got. I'm just a little bit worried about their center situation. Right now, it says that Isaiah Jackson is going to be their starting center. Not super high on that. So I'm going to go with them as number 7, but that's where I'm going. And then for the teams that are going to make the playoffs outright, at number 6, I am going with the Milwaukee Bucks. For whatever reason, people seem to be kind of high on the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm not too high on them. I think Giannis is going to be absolutely incredible. I think he's determined. They did stretch and waive Damian Lillard's contract in the offseason. So, and of course, they have the first full year of the Kyle Kuzma experience. They still have Glenn Rivers as their coach, though. Their starting lineup is projected to be Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., Kuzma, Giannis, and Miles Turner. And off the bench, you've got Taurean Prince, AJ Green, Bobby Portis, Cole Anthony, A. Jackson, Ryan Rollins. You know, and they also have Gary Harris now. I think that the 6th seed is perfectly fine for them because if Giannis misses even 10 to 15 games, they are fucked. So I'm going to go with the Bucks at number 6. At number 5, I am going to go with the Detroit Pistons. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Hawks at number 5. The Atlanta Hawks are the team besides the Raptors that I'm going to be watching the most in the East this year. I'll watch some Philly games when Paul George comes back, but the Hawks are very intriguing to me. They made a lot of great offseason moves. They've surrounded Trae Young with the defensive versatility and athleticism that they need. You got Dyson Daniels. You got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You're adding Kristaps Porzingis to the mix. You still have Onyeka Okongwu. You finally got rid of Clint Capella. And if Jalen Johnson can stay healthy, that's the key for this Hawks team to be really dangerous. You got year 2 of Zach Reese-Shea. And they also have my old friend Luke Kennard. So I'm going to go with the Atlanta Hawks at 5. I think the Atlanta Hawks, this is one of the best teams they've had in this Trae Young era. So I'm going with them. And then with the 4th seed, I'm going to go with the Detroit Pistons. They're going to be getting Jaden Ivey back this season, another year of Cade Cunningham. I think as always, it really, it's about Cade's health. Cade needs to be healthy. Last season, he had a career year. He played 70 games. They're going to need something like that again this year. They got Duncan Robinson, former Michigan Wolverine. You still have Asar Thompson, who's only going to get better. Jalen Duren, who's only going to get better. You have a full season of Karis LeVert, Ronald Holland, Marcus Sasser. I don't know what's going on with Jaden Ivey. It says that he underwent an arthroscopic procedure and will be reevaluated in 4 weeks as of 5 days ago. Remember, they still did a lot of good work, though, without him in the season. So I'm going to go with the Detroit Pistons at 4. And then at the 3rd seed, I am going to go with the Orlando Magic. They added Desmond Bane in the offseason. They desperately needed some shooting. Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, another year older. I like Wendell Carter. I like Anthony Black. I got the Orlando Magic at 3. They've got a very good defense, and they've hopefully gotten some shooting assistance now with Desmond Bane. At number 2, I'm going with the New York Knicks. If there was ever a year to win the championship, and I said this last year, it's the Knicks this year. I thought it was last year, but they've gotten another chance with all the injuries to these guys. I'm going to go with the New York Knicks at number 2. And then, of course, number 1, that leaves the Cleveland Cavaliers, the 1 seed from last year. I think they'll pick up where they left off. And I think it's, again, if there's any year for them to win to go to the championship, it's this year right here. So that's the Eastern Conference. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's talk now about the Western Conference. Now, there's only one bad team in this conference. One bad team, in my opinion, like terrible team. And that's the Utah Jazz. The Utah Trash, as I like to call them. The Clippers are playing on opening night. They are straight buns. Straight bunsies. I mean, I don't even know what to say about them. Let's not even pay any man. Let's not even waste time on them. So the Utah Trash, right? Now here's where it gets tough because someone's got to be 14 and everybody's picking different teams. So I really don't know what to do. But at the end of the day, and it pains me to say it, I'm going to go with the Sacramento Kings. I love Russell Westbrook. I love Zach LaVine, UCLA guys. I love DeRozan, USC guy. But this roster just doesn't make much sense. Keegan Murray's going to be out for a while. They don't have any big forwards. The only guys that can really guard are Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, and Russ. Their spacing is going to be horrific. Sabonis he's a good player, but the shooting isn't great. Their stars are very offense heavy. It's like a mix of old and young, but it just doesn't make much sense. And I'm not a huge fan of their depth. Outside of Malik Monk and Russ, like Isaac Jones, Neat Clifford, we should see. Drew Eubanks is their backup. Dario Saric, like Dougie McBuckets, I don't know, Devin Carter. And here's the thing about the Kings. They could be a lot better than I'm saying. They really could be. But I'm just going to go with them as 14. So anyway, yeah, I know. I see the comments. No way. I get they won't be the best, but this is too much. I'm sorry, guys. Who do you have as your number 14 seed? Their roster just doesn't make much sense. They have no defensive point of attack outside of Keon Ellis, who I'm not sure is even a starter in this league. He might be a backup. And then Dennis Schroeder. I like Dennis Schroeder a lot, but, I'm going to go with the Sacramento Kings. And then the number 13 seed. I am going to go with, this is a tough one, but I'm going to go with, and this is a very controversial pick, but I'm doing it because of health reasons. I'm going to go with the New Orleans Pelicans. They could be a lot better than this, though. They have Trey Murphy. They have Herb Jones. They have Zion. They have Jordan Poole. But I think if Zion misses 20 games, they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in a lot of trouble. Jordan Poole, they might rely on him a little too much for my liking in terms of shot creation. Herb Jones is not really a shot creator. Trey Murphy, though, is starting to become that. I'm going with them at 13, though, but it's tough. I think that they have a really solid team. Their bench, I'm not too high on. Jeremiah Fears, Jose Alvarado, Sadiq Bey. It'll be interesting to see Derek Queen and Kevon Looney, but it says Kevon Looney will miss 2 to 3 weeks due to a proximal tibiofibular ligament sprain in his left knee. I don't know. I'm going with the Pels. I know that's controversial, but as someone saying, if healthy, the pellet. By the way, come on YouTube, guys. I'm 25 subscribers away from 13,000. If you can get me to that before opening night on Friday, I would be really appreciative. So come to YouTube. There's only 26 people on YouTube, and there's 112 allegedly on Twitter. So forget Twitter. Come to YouTube and subscribe. I won't be answering any more Twitter comments. All right, number 12. I'm going to go with the Phoenix Buns. I really like Devin Booker's game. Jalen Green, some nights he looks like a superstar. Some nights he looks like he's just a glorified chucker. I'm going with the Suns. I think that they could surprise some teams, though, and sneak into the play-in because they have, some more toughness now. They have a better center rotation now with Kaman Maluak, and who was the 10th pick in this year's draft. You got Ryan Dunn that's going to get more time. Dylan Brooks, who's going to be a good addition. They have Nick Richards and Mark Williams now. So they actually have a center rotation. But Jalen Green's going to be out. He aggravated his hamstring during the Suns' trip to China and was going to be reevaluated in 10 days. That was as of a week ago. So I'm going with the Phoenix Buns at number 12. But here's the thing. I think the Kings and the Pelicans could finish higher than the Suns. It's a crapshoot at that point. So then number 11, who's missing out on the play-in? Oh, this is very, very tough. This is very, very tough. I'm deciding between two teams, but I want to take a look real quick at the Memphis Grizzlies and their injury situation. Ty Jerome will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. Scottie Pippen will be reevaluated in 12 weeks. John Morant is healthy. Brandon Clark will be reevaluated in 6 weeks. And Edey is expected to return to play in 6 to 9 weeks as of September 26th. So right now, they're looking at John Morant, KCP, Jalen Wells, Jaren Jackson Jr., and maybe either Santi Aldama or Jock Landale starting. Oh, man. I think they're just going to be too banged up. I'll do it. I'm going to go with the Memphis Grizzlies at 11, but a large part of me says that they could be 10. And then at number 10, I'm going with the Portland Trailblazers. Now, they could easily be 11. They could easily be 12. But I think this is a very interesting roster. The thing about them is, who's their best player? I think that's very interesting. Like, who is their best player? Is it Denny Avdia? Is it Shaedon Sharpe? Is it Drew Holiday? I mean, Jan Hansen's going to be super exciting this year. I think I'll watch some of their games. You got Scoot Henderson, but Scoot Henderson, I think he's injured. It says he's injured. He tore his hamstring 25 days ago. He's out for 1 to 2 months, but they got some depth at this point. Like, they have Drew Holiday, they have Shaedon Sharpe, they have Denny Avdia, Toumani Camara, Donovan Clingan, Jan Hansen, Jeremy Grant, Chris Murray, Robert Williams. So I'm going to go with the Blazers at 10, but I'm not super confident in that pick. And someone's asking about the Grizzlies. It's just that they're so injured. I mean, they have Jaren Jackson Jr., but they're just so injured. Oh, yeah, Damian Lillard, but he's not going to be coming back this year. Someone's asking me about Damian Lillard with the Blazers. He's not going to be coming back this year. So that's why I got number 10. At number 9, this is tough. It's very, very tough. The West is a bloodbath, man. There's a lot of solid teams. Not a lot of great teams, but there's a lot of good teams, as it's been the last couple of years. At the 9th seed, I am going to go with the Dallas Mavericks. I see people super high on Dallas, and I see people very low on Dallas. I just think that without Kyrie Irving, and he'll come back at some point, I think without Kyrie Irving, they're like a 9th seed. I don't know about Cooper Flagg starting at point guard and not playing D'Angelo Russell, but they have a lot of size, The one thing I'm a little worried about, though, is Anthony Davis playing the 4 a lot because they have Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. And when Anthony Davis plays the 4 post-bubble, it's a lot of him standing at the perimeter, clogging up the spacing, and he's not a very good shooter. He's lost that mid-range touch to some degree. He's a lot better when he's attacking the basket and getting the ball in the post and stuff of that nature. And I don't think he likes the grind of that. And I think that could force him to just camp too much at the top of the key. And he's not the best passer out of the high post or anything like that. So I'm going to go with the Mavericks. But I think when fully healthy, they're actually extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. So I don't know if Kyrie's going to come back. He might. But right now they're looking at, and they're very stacked. I mean, I think Dallas is one of the deeper teams in the league. It's just that there's a lot of good teams in the West. Right now, they're projected starting 5. It says D'Angelo Russell on ESPN, but I've heard that they're not starting D'Angelo Russell. So it's going to be Cooper Flagg, Klay Thompson, probably Najee Marshall, and then AD and Derek Lively. You got Klay Thompson, Cooper Flagg, PJ Washington at the 3, AD, and Derek Lively. So PJ Washington can shoot, but will they be able to move their feet well? There's a lot of size there, but will they be able to move their feet well? And can they guard on the perimeter? That'll be interesting to see. So, and I think Cooper Flagg will be good, but is he guarding the point of attack every night? I mean, you still got Max Christie and Najee Marshall off the bench. So it's an interesting team. I'm going to go with them at 9, though, without Kyrie Irving. Now, number 8, I am going with the San Antonio Spurs. I think they can be even higher than this, but I'm not as high on the Wemby train as everybody else. Like, I think Wemby's great. I think he's going to continue to get better, but I don't think he's top 5, and I'm not even convinced he's top 10. He might make me eat my words on that, but I'm not putting somebody who I've never seen in a meaningful postseason game over guys that have been there, done that. So I'm going with the San Antonio Spurs at 8. You got a full year of De'Aaron Fox. You got Stephon Castle. You have Carter Bryant. You have Dylan Harper. Devin Vassell is still there. I mean, this roster is stacked. Now, Jeremy Sohan sprained his left wrist. He's going to be out for a little bit. De'Aaron Fox is still doubtful for opening night. So, but I still think that this team is going to be very good. I still think they're going to be very good, and they could be even higher than this. But I'm going to go with them at 8. At number 7, I'm going with the Golden State Warriors. I think they're just old. They're just old. They didn't do much in the offseason. It was just a Kuminga saga the whole time. I'm not super high on the Warriors. I think with Jimmy Butler, they're very good. I think they're going to win tonight against the Lakers because LeBron is out. But I'm going with the Warriors at 7. At number 6, I'm going with the Lakers. I think LeBron being out is a little problematic. I think they have the depth, though, and because they have Luka and Austin Reeves, they'll be able to get by without him for a bit. But I mean get by. When I mean get by, though, I mean they're going to win some games. But I don't think that they're going to be, like, super good without LeBron. I just don't. So I got them at number 6, the Lakers. I think they'll still make it to the playoffs outright. But, you know, DeAndre Ayton has a lot of pressure on him. There's going to be a major spotlight on his ass for the first time in a while. And then you've got, you know, Marcus Smart, who I think is going to be tasked with a lot. He and Gabe Vincent at that point of attack. And JJ Redick has said it best. They don't even have a great defensive stopper. They don't have great defensive personnel. So I think people you have to watch are Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, and what's his name? Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, and Marcus Smart. So I'm going to go with them at 6. At number 5, I am going with the Houston Rockets. I just think that Fred VanVleet's loss is going to be bigger than people think. Their spacing is going to be interesting. Kevin Durant's going to have to stay healthy. If he misses games, they're going to struggle to score. I'm going with the Houston Rockets at number 5. I think they'll be a lot better. They're going to be a team I'm definitely going to be paying attention to alongside Toronto, Dallas, San Antonio, and Atlanta. I think those are the teams I'm going to be really paying attention to. The Texas trio, and then those two. And then when Paul George comes back, a little bit of them. And maybe a little bit of Sacramento to check in on my boy Russ. But I'm going with them at 5. At number 4, I'm going with the Wolves. They lost Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They're a very good regular season team. Anthony Edwards getting another year of experience. They are who I'm going with at number 4. They have a good chance to go back to the conference finals again. Conference finals 2 straight years, and they're probably going to be 3, but I got to be a little bit of a homer here and go with the agenda. At number 3, getting a top 3 seed at long last in the dime dropper era after 20 in the dime dropper era is my LA Clippers. We got a lot of good pieces this year. If you've been watching Locked On Clippers, you'll have heard me talk about this. We got a backup center to replace Ivica Zubac with Brook Lopez. We got John Collins to get another big forward in there instead of Norman Powell. And then we have Bradley Beal, a healthy Kawhi from day one. I think, to me, there's no doubt that we're going to be a top 5 seed, but I'm going to go 3rd seed. 2 seed might be pushing it a bit, but I think we'll be as high as 2 and we can be as low as 6, but I don't see any scenario where we're in the play-in. Like, I think our roster is so built for, unless James Harden and Kawhi Leonard miss extended stretches, I think we'll be solid. We have a replacement for everyone. If Kawhi's out, we can get more scoring from Beal. If Harden's out, we can get some more playmaking from Chris Paul. And if Kawhi's out, we're already used to that anyway. So I'm going to go with us as number 3. At number 2, I'm going with the Denver Nuggets. I think that they made some good moves in the offseason, getting Cam Johnson, getting Tim Hardaway Jr., Jonas Valanciunas. They now have a backup for Jokic. I think that they're going to be the 2nd seed. I like what they've done in the offseason, and I think they're going to be revved up, ready to go. And then number 1 is the defending champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. We're kicking things off against the Rockets tonight. They didn't even have to make any moves. They won the championship. They're a young team rolling high on confidence. I got the Thunder. So those are my 30 teams and their predictions. Tonight we get started at night with the live directly after the Laker game. I will be live to talk about it. Lakers, Warriors. I have practiced during the Rockets Thunder game, so I'll probably only get to talk about the second half. And then maybe the following morning, we can do a playback on this part that I missed. Or we can even do a late night playback after my live. So we can do one of the two. We'll definitely do it because I'll definitely want to watch it. Because I'm going to miss the first half, and I definitely want to watch the first half of the NBA season and the ring ceremony and Kevin Durant against his former team and in his first game with his new team. So anyway, that's all for me. Appreciate everybody. The NBA season is here. Season 6 of Dime Dropper. Hope you guys enjoy and hope you guys are along for the ride of hopefully it will be our best season yet. Peace out, and I'll see you all tonight after the Laker game. Make sure you're here.